Hey everyone, and welcome back to another video. Get excited because we're back in your favorite sub, r/AmITheButthole. Nothing better than judging some people from the safety of your own home. Now, I don't want to waste another second, so I'm going to get straight into this first one by user /LECOEURSEBRISE. But, a warning. When I first read this, it left me in a state of shock. So, hopefully, you'll enjoy it too. Last December, my 28 female best friend, 32 male, married his girlfriend, 30 female of 2 years. They had a beautiful white tie garden wedding at a nice estate. I've known my friend since childhood. We used to spend every second together. We went to the same elementary and high school, and only lived a few doors down from each other. We kept talking when we went to university, but stopped talking for about 4 years when I went and made different friends. But eventually, we both found jobs in our hometown and reconnected. I've always thought my best friend was attractive, but I never made a move because I'm a more traditional person and he never asked. We both went to prom with different people, dated different people in college, and etc. We never kissed or had any other physicality. So, fast forward to his wedding night, the whole thing felt wrong to me. I ended up liking his now wife, but during the period in which they were dating and engaged, I still hung out with my best friend all the time. We'd go stargazing, hiking, and etc. But there was never any romantic subtext to it. On the night of my wedding, I asked one of my friends what I should do, and she recommended that I tell him my feelings before the wedding. She said I would regret it forever if I didn't. I realized this was true. I didn't get a chance to talk to him before the ceremony, but afterwards I managed to pull him aside and tell him I've loved him forever. He started to cry and told me to leave. I've only spoken to him once since last December, when he texted me to make sure I was fine considering the current plague. Am I the butthole? If I am, please help me resolve this. I really miss my best friend. Look, I don't know what this friend was doing, but clearly he/she/they, whatever, had way too much reality TV. What did you expect to happen? That he'd suddenly pull an Uno reverse card, say, hey, we're at a wedding, right, and go off and marry you? It's just the worst place to do something like that. It's the absolutely worst time. So, OP, I say you're the butthole. There's nothing wrong with having feelings for this guy or telling him about it. But on his wedding night? Look, that's what I said about leaving me in shock. This just feels like it was taken straight from some weird sitcom. Yeah, let's move on to this next one by user /Throra1287. I, 30 female, met this guy, 28 male, in January, and he became my boyfriend in February. Comes March, the world goes down the drain, and we decide to move in together for the time of the pandemic. Everything is great. In the morning, we have this routine where he browses Reddit and gives me the highlights. A few weeks ago, he shows me a post where this guy is challenged to an arm wrestling competition by his girlfriend. The guy didn't seem to have any sort of training or workout, whereas his girlfriend did. I commented he might have a surprise. My boyfriend started educating me on biology and how men are stronger than women. I told him there are way too many factors to take into consideration to make such a broad comment. I've been doing weightlifting for 2 years, and my boyfriend has never seen a gym in his life. So I used us as an example. That was a big mistake. He got really defensive and condescending and made comments like, "That's cute." I just let it go. Fast forward to yesterday, he's playing some game with his friend online, and I can clearly hear him talk about me. Well, curiosity killed the cat. At first, it's all pretty, and my ego is bursting. But then he says I'm delusional because I think I'm stronger than him. Pause. Seriously? I know I'm weak, but not weaker than a girl. So later, I decide to call him on his BS. I asked him if he wanted to come work out with me the next day, this morning, so he can show me how strong he is. He accepted, and I was happy because I'd been dying to bring him and initiate him to something I'm passionate about. So this morning, we went to my friend's 27 male garage. My region allows groups of 10 or less people, and we wipe everything. I told him we're gonna do deadlifts. It's my favourite exercise, and I was already planning to test my personal best, so it was perfect. My friend was there cause he corrected my form, and it's been our Sunday ritual since the virus. We started light and slowly worked our way up, doing the same number of reps as the other. Comes 185, his form starts to crumble, so we made him go lighter. But 185 isn't that much for me, so I kept stacking the plates. He looked very supportive and impressed the whole time. I ended up beating my personal best at 265. I was ecstatic, and so were they. Let me pull out my calculator. 265 pounds is about 120 kilos, so a pretty good deadlift, pretty good effort, OP. When we got in the car, he was very silent. I assumed he was just tired. We got home, and that's when he exploded and asked me if I was proud of myself. Apparently, I humiliated him in front of my friend. I apologized. I didn't realize he was feeling that way. He got angry and said it really changed the way he saw me. Like, I'm less of a woman now. He stormed to the basement. I started collecting my things, but now I'm wondering if I should have been reading between the lines and stopped at 190 or something. Or just dropped it and never suggested we work out together. I knew very well I was stronger him, but I just had to prove it to him. Am I the butthole? Oh, and look at this update. I still didn't get a word from him since, but some of you asked. I'll make sure to update you when he does. Thank you for the overwhelming response. That was a bit of a rollercoaster day, but made it easier to know I'm not completely in the wrong. And because there were no follow-up updates, well, looks like this boyfriend never replied. And that seems a good thing. Because no matter your gender, if you put up someone who's never seen a gym before against someone who's been lifting for years, most of the time, the person who's been at the gym will win. Unless, of course, the other person is absolutely massive or does a lot of other physically intensive work. You see, OP's boyfriend was misled by this concept of averages. On average, yes. A woman is generally, on average, don't destroy me in the comments please. On average, a woman is weaker than a man. One simple reason, because a woman is smaller than a man. On average. And OP's boyfriend extrapolated this to think that any man is stronger than all the women out there, which is flat out wrong. So, yeah, overall, OP, not the butthole, and it seems like a good thing that this boyfriend has never replied to you. Oh, and just as a side note, the comments here are absolutely amazing, so if you want, link is in the description down below, go have a read, and just see this man get roasted. And here's our next post by user/spoiledkid9001. Brief background, about 9.5 years ago, my wife cheated on me, got pregnant, and left me for him. Courts gave him custody of our son because single dad vs family. I've since gotten remarried and had a couple of kids, 7 and 5.5. Ex and her new man have also had 2 more kids. Wife and I both work as engineers and have dang good salaries to put it lightly. Ex and new husband haven't ever done particularly well. Ex-wife didn't want me sending my son lavish gifts or taking him on the family vacations, so her other siblings wouldn't get too jealous and build resentments towards him, her words. Meanwhile, he was understandably upset. He wasn't getting as nice a life as my other kids were as he got older. He asked to come live with me. I said, yes, I'd love to have him. Ex-wife said no. Thank God the court sided with what my son wanted. Since moving in, everything's gone fairly smoothly for us. My younger kids love having their big brother around all the time. He loves them. We still go on our vacations every January. Though, had I known how bad Rona was back then, I'd probably held it off this year. For his 16th birthday, he got a nice used Buick he wanted. Since then, Fitz hit the shan with his mum. She's mad about how much he's getting and getting to do. Keeps texting and calling both of us about how his younger siblings will never be able to get all he has. And it's not fair, and how her kids are upset, and how I'm a horrible dad for forcing his siblings to resent him. I finally told her I don't care. I want my kids to have a good life. And if she wasn't an adulterer, hers would have had a better life too. Did I go too far here? I mean, OP, I've got no choice really but to give you not the butthole. I mean, he's your kid, those aren't your kids, you're fully in the right to do whatever you want. But I do just want to make a quick note, is put yourself in this mum's shoes who cheated a while back, and now all she wants is a good life for her kids, which she can't provide. Now, sure, going to your ex and asking him to provide a good life for your kids isn't a good option, but I can sort of see where she's coming from. Not to say that she isn't a butthole, but I can see where she's coming from. And this video today has actually turned out pretty good, because this next one, by user/supposedmisogynist, is also pretty great. I, 52 male, am the father of 3 kids. 15 female, 7 female, and 7 male. The last 2 are twins and are very close, having a tendency to copy each other. I love and adore them all equally. My son is not a very masculine kid, and is less interested in some of my hobbies because of it. He's always preferred whatever his mother and older sister did, like biking or dancing. I have no problem with this, I love him as he is, but to be honest, I'm slightly disappointed that we haven't had the same kind of amazing father-son bonding that I got to have with my grandpa when I was a kid. My dad died when I was pretty young. Since I'm at home most of the time now, I've been seeing just how feminine his interests have gotten. Asking to help cook every meal, helping his older sister alter secondhand clothes, and playing pretend. He's even asked to have his sister paint his nails. I'm not upset or bothered by it, but it isn't typical for young boys. Okay, sorry to butt in, but just the way you're describing it, OP, it does sound like you are upset and bothered by it. Not to say that's wrong, just saying you're saying otherwise, and you shouldn't be saying otherwise if it's actually what it is. I'll stop talking. I've been working out at home instead of at the gym because of our current circumstances. And when my son came in while I was lifting weights in the family room, he showed an interest in it. He was excited about the idea of having big muscles and tried out some of the 5-pound ones. Even though he mentioned being like She-Ra, from some new Netflix reboot I think. It was still progress in my eyes, and it seemed like he was showing interest in masculine hobbies. I praised him and did the whole, "Wow, you're so strong" thing in Kids Talk to encourage him. When his sister walked in, the twin joined in. Like I said, they have the tendency to want to do what the other is doing. So she expected the same kind of, "Wow, so strong" stuff. When I wasn't as enthusiastic with her and focused on my son, my oldest got annoyed and asked why I was treating them differently. I explained to her that because he hadn't taken interest in these kind of masculine hobbies before, I wanted to foster his own identity as a boy, separate from his twin sister. She accused me of being misogynistic for this. She then said I was the butthole for making his sister feel weaker, and implying that I didn't approve of his feminine interests. I don't think I'm the butthole because there's no reason for my daughter to be inclined towards this kind of thing. But my son should be developing a more masculine personality as he gets older. When I told my wife, 41 female, she also blew up at me, saying I was acting like a cartoon misogynist. Both of them are angry. So Reddit, am I the butthole? And OP has added quite a few updates, so I'll go through them in a second. But first of all, look OP, you're the butthole. There's no getting around that. Imagine if it was the opposite way. If your wife, your boy's mum, excluded him from all the activities he does with her, like cooking, baking, dancing, whatever it is they do. That would be roughly the same thing. It would feel pretty bad for him. On the other hand, sort of same as the next one, I do want to say I understand where you're coming from. It's a very traditional thing, and once again, please don't kill me for this comment. But it is a very generational thing. If this is how you were raised, and this is what you grew up believing, it's a mindset that's really hard to break out of. But with that said, let's move on to the updates because OP has quite a few things to say. Hey everyone, I was 100% the butthole. I appreciated that some people tried to empathize and say not the butthole or no buttholes here to be charitable. But I'm in the wrong here, and I knew it deep down while I was writing this post. Rereading it, I feel ridiculous for writing it out at all. I want to say thank you, because these comments were the objective kick up the butt I really needed. I realize now that I was really out of line for saying that stuff and making my daughters feel that way. I set up a stupid false dichotomy, and my daughter was very right. I was being a misogynist. No excuse for that. I'll apologize to both of them and my wife an hour after I posted. I also shared this post with my little brother, who, as I mentioned in a comment, was teased for being effeminate as a kid and teen, especially after he came out. I think some people took me mentioning that as blaming him, which wasn't my intention at all. None of my behaviour is his or anybody else's fault. We talked for a while, and that, along with many of the comments you guys left, made me aware of how badly I'm treating my son. My grandpa, who raised my brother and I for most of our lives, was a manly guy who I've always idolised completely. Well, my brother made me aware that my grandpa in particular made him feel bad about his femininity and his sexual orientation. He would often say degrading, terrible things. I was oblivious to just how much that hurt him, and it seems that I've picked up some of these same ideas. I've been such a piece of garbage for so long, and now that I've realised how absurd some of the ideas I've held onto are, I know how much of a disservice I've done to my boy. I shouldn't try to make him change just to protect him from bullies. In this situation, I'm the bully as much as it hurts to think. I'm planning on talking with him about this issue and apologising. If we can, this week, I want to let him choose something that he likes that we can do together. I'm not going to make the same mistakes my grandpa did. At my brother's and subredditors' suggestions, I'm also considering trying out therapy or a support group. After a mistake, huge F-up like this, I think I ought to try be the best dad and big brother I can be, and work to stop thinking that way, especially when I've already done so much damage. I'm sorry about the extremely long edit, but thank you for your responses and helping me with this issue. I showed my wife some comments, and she also thanks you all. And that is just the best part, OP. This is something I really want to congratulate you on, is being able to look upon your own actions and say, hey, I was wrong. To me, this is just the favourite part of the sub, when one of the posters comes back and is able to say, hey, I was wrong, I apologise to the people that I was wrong to, and clear up the situation. It just shows the mark of a mature person who is able to get over things and move on with life. And guys, I think I might have to leave this video here. I was hoping to get through a few more stories, but these just turned out just much too long and much too good. So if you liked it, make sure to subscribe to the channel for 3 Reddit videos every single week. But with that said, that is it from me. I hope you all enjoyed, and all I want to do is see you all here next time. See you later, guys.